Hi, everybody. Jeff Pelletier here, the president at Junior Achievement of Southern Massachusetts, and we are really excited to be bringing you another segment in our career speaker series today. We are very grateful and excited and happy to be joined by Dr. Brian Polochick, and a tremendous local leader, a great story, and we know you all are really going to benefit from the conversation. And so first off, Brian, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me, Jeff. With that kind of introduction, I don't even know what to say.
Yeah, no, we're excited about the conversation and really appreciate you making time for it. And so, Brian, as we get started here, just to lay the groundwork here for the students listening in, do you mind just introducing yourself and sharing a bit about your career?
All right. Well, I'm Dr. Brian Polochick. I've been a chiropractor for 22 years. A lot of people, have been to chiropractors or they really don't even know what they do. I started my health journey. I had some health setbacks when I was younger, a young kid. I had a head injury, basketball, and it caused me to have these headaches and these blackout, almost to seizure problems. And I went and got care by traditional medical means, which helped me a lot, but it didn't completely solve my problem. And then I went out to the holistic world and started working on my mindset, my diet, and finding ways to heal myself. And I got so much help in the holistic world that I switched careers from going to school to be an engineer and a marine biologist to a chiropractor and a community leader to help people, because it helped me so much that I was almost felt obligated to give back.
Sure. That's, I love that. And I think it's always so powerful when people find success and they find value and they find meaning, and then, their instinct is to share it with others. I think that's always
well,
really
there's
powerful.
An old saying, Jeff, your mess is your message. So a lot of times what happens is when you go through the mess, you understand what other people are going through. You can connect with people in a better way when you've had setbacks that you've overcome and not give up on.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And Brian, one thing that I know about you, and I think would be really neat for the students to hear about too, is really in many ways, your entrepreneurial venture and spirit and activities as well. Think about healthy, wealthy, that's why, and some of just the great thought leadership you have. I wonder if you could just share a little bit about, your journey in that regards as well, and the process you've gone through there.
Oh, well, in my practice, I take care of a lot of people with back pain, neck pain. We're chiropractors. We deal primarily with nervous system. A lot of people confuse us as just back pain doctors. Your spine happens to protect your nerves, which controls all the functions of your body. So your brain and body communicate. The problem I found, and this is what happens when you're an entrepreneur thinker, is that you find problems and you look for solutions. So a lot of people come into my office with back pain, headaches, neck pain, fatigue and tiredness, digestive problems, and we'd get them better. And then they'd go back the other direction of getting their symptoms again. So my adjustments would help them in my office, but then there was a gap. What do I do to prevent myself from going out of alignment? What do I do to prevent myself from getting sick? I'm tired of getting sick, doc. I've been sick these headaches are affecting my career. They're affecting my family life, my relationships. What can I do? And I knew a lot about health because I went through the health world, but I don't have time to be with people for 5 minutes to explain to them how to be healthy. So there was a big gap in health, and there's so much information out there. There's almost too much. So who better to cut through that, a lot of that mess and give a message of clarity and health than me? And I find that Jeff, a lot of people in their careers, they focus on building money. And why I named my program Healthy, Wealthy, That's Why, is that I wanted to show people that you have to build health and wealth at the same time, or else there'll be a trade-off. You'll make a ton of money and burn through your health. And eventually what'll happen is at the end of your career, you'll pay back all your money to try to buy your health back. And if you don't have a strong enough why in life, that's what happens. So you have to have a strong why, a purpose, so to say, of what you want to accomplish in life. And then what'll happen is it'll make your career a lot easier when you have a why in life.
Yeah, no, and thank you, Brian. That's really powerful, to hear. And certainly one of the things that we talk about with students a lot too, Brian, is when you do find your why and you're excited about a career, and maybe some of the students are listening in, could be excited about a career, as a chiropractor, or could be excited about a career in that thought leadership space, could be excited about doing exactly what you did and doing both, and really broadening. I wonder, when you think about high school students, what types of, if you're interested in any of those paths, what are some of the things they could be thinking about from an education, skills standpoint? What are some thoughts you might have along those lines?
Well, you need to be involved in science. So prerequisites, if you're thinking in that career, you need chemistry, biology, you need some basic mathematics, you need some physics as prerequisites to get into medical school. And chiropractic school is almost very similar to medical school. The only difference, we actually do more anatomy and physiology than the medical world does. We do more radiology and x-ray, unless you're a radiologist yourself. What the medical world does more is pathology and pharmacology. So you need to have business skills, so economics, running a business. The biggest problem in my career isn't that you can't fix people, is that a lot of people have the skill to adjust people. They don't have communication skills to work through conflicts with people, and they don't have an essence of how to run a business properly. So they end up making bad business decisions, even if they're very good chiropractors.
Sure. Yeah. And that's great, Brian. And, another question along those lines, and something that I have seen personally in the way that, you put forward some really great content, and you do a really nice job, sharing your work in so many different careers, things, whether it's social media, whether it's speaking programs. I wonder if you could speak just a little bit to, the way you've thought about, posting on social media and sharing and building a brand. I mean, you've built brands and great logos, and just, share a little bit there. Cause I know for students, that's a big part of what they're thinking about as well.
Well, it's funny, Jeff, when I was young, I was very good in math and science, but I was very shy. I would be afraid to get in front of a camera. I would be afraid to make myself vulnerable. Like, oh my God, people are looking at me the wrong way. So I was very vulnerable and almost like had a lower self-esteem. And so if you have that to start, that's not going to be a hindrance to your growth. You're just going to have to, there's not a right and a wrong. There's a short and a long. It might take you longer to get more successful, but when you actually get there, it's more rewarding, because you have to go through the getting uncomfortable. There's an old saying in business, all growth happens outside your comfort zone. So when you have a mission and you're like, how do I reach more people? Well, I'm going to have to get in front of people and talk. And even if I'm uncomfortable doing that, at first you might do it in front of your own phone and practice without a live audience. And then you might make recordings and then put it up. And then you get more comfortable to get it to the live, and then in front of a live audience. And then it becomes second nature if you keep practicing.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Thank you, Brian. And again, somewhat similar to that too, really thinking about the high school students watching here, right? People who, are fired up, and there's so many really phenomenal, mission driven students in high school now. How are some ways you think in high school or college that any advice for them to even get started?
We have an old saying that done is better than perfect. The big hindrance for a lot of people is that they don't do things because they want everything to be perfect. They want the lighting to be perfect. They want the microphone to be perfect. They want the video to be perfect. And on a lot of people, that will hinder them from even getting started. So be comfortable with where you are. Find something, I like to say, like, find a problem in the world you'd like to solve, make a solution for it. And then that's a great way to make a career and a business from it, because now you're more mission driven.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Brian. And one thing that I think is, I find really just powerful about what you do, everything that you do, is it really comes from the place of, you are doing work that is meaningful, and that helps people. And again, something that really core JA is trying to help students across the region think through the notion of, right, if you love your career, if you have a passion for what you do, it doesn't feel like work. It's enjoyable, it's motivating, it's powerful, and it can let you have a really wonderful life. I just wonder if you can speak a little bit to that about how, you really found your passion and what that looks like for you, that the work that you're doing is just important work.
Well, that's a great question, Jeff. And, you, when you're on a mission, like chiropractic, we always say is like, it's not a job, it's a way of life. Like, being healthy, figuring out problems. It goes to everything in life. And for every JA that's listening in here, there's never been an easier or better time to connect with more people, because it used to be you'd have to pay to be on a TV show or a radio show. And now you can build your own audience. You can build your own podcast. You can be inspired to do that, and nothing's holding you back. And, there's just so many endless possibilities in the world right now to connect. And that's the way people are connecting. But there is a lot of competition. So you have to have, like, we call it a niche, an interesting niche, which is a specific thing you want to talk about. Like my world is in the health world and in the entrepreneurial world and the mindset world with some of my programs, as well as in my office. It's stress driven. The great part about chiropractic and being online is you have freedom. You can make your own hours. You can make your own money. You can go out and say, I did it this way. I could do it late night. I can get up early. You have a lot of freedom, but it's a different type of world that you have to go in, because you're not getting paid by the hour and you're responsible. You can't show up to, like, some people can show up to work and not work too hard. They'll still get paid. In this kind of work, you're not getting paid if you're not producing. So that's the trade-off.
Yeah. And Brian, I think that's so well said. And in some ways, such a accurate way to state sometimes, the life of an entrepreneur, right? And there's huge benefits. There's tremendous lifestyle benefits. There's tremendous freedoms. There's tremendous upside benefits, but it comes with real responsibility, and it comes with, right, the need to deliver results. And if you don't for too long, that's going to be a real problem.
Well, what shifted, Jeff, is when I started this, it was kind of like a pastime to add to what I was doing. And nothing was really happening until I started taking it like it was a real job.
Sure.
Like putting in hours for it, keeping it simple, saying, I'm going to work on this an hour every day. Not too much, not too little. I'm just going to make little baby steps. And before you know, you get momentum and you get stuff done. A lot of people don't start because they look at a project and say, oh my God, this is so big. I don't know where to start. Keep it simple and take steps. And each step that you take and you accomplish, build your confidence level and gets momentum going. And that's how you do anything in business to be successful.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And Brian, so to finish up here, this is a question I love to ask our guests. So, right, today you're a community leader, but if you could go back in time, thinking about all the high school students that are listening in to this conversation, if you could, give some advice to those still in high school, right? Is there any type of advice, encouragement, any type of thought that you would love to share with all the students?
I have 4 kids, Jeff, and some are really young, and a lot of people are confused and they cause a lot of stress as they go into the end of high school to figure out a career. And that you don't necessarily have to figure out your career and know exactly what you want to do yet. You need communication skills. You need to know economics, no matter if you have a job or if you run a household or a house. You need to know that, how to balance a checkbook, the basics of money. You have to have communication skills, and having passion and something that you love to do makes life a lot easier. So don't put the burden of stress on that you have to have all this figured out. That it will come along. Take the courses, do a whole bunch of different things until you find something that you really find that you love and have passion for. And a lot of times we say that you don't go after things, find you. When you do the right things come to you. That's kind of like the laws of attraction. If you do the right things and you're driven towards helping people and providing value, money always follows value. So if you make the world, leave it a little better than you found it and add value to it, it seems like the money seems to come from all over the place because you're adding value, and money loves to follow value.
Yeah. Thanks so much for that, Brian. That's powerful. So well said. And I think, again, in many ways, really this whole conversation, Emily, it's what we talk about, Jay, all the time about, really looking to find your mission, find your purpose. You can use your career as a vehicle to that, and to act, and that there's so many exciting opportunities for young people across our region right now.
Right. Like, what do they say, Jeff? That success is 1% inspiration, 99% perspiration, which means you do have to do the work.
Absolutely. No, there is no doubt about it. No doubt about it all. And Brian, you are a wonderful example of that, and really appreciate you taking the time to be a part of this conversation, to share some highlights of your career, and also some motivations and some thoughts for high school students today. So high school students, I hope you enjoyed this session and gives you some really exciting things to be thinking about. And Brian, from all of us at JA, thank you so much for being a part of it.
Having me on, Jeff. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks, everybody.